Hello, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Welcome to JCZ Craft Logs and More. Talk About It with Jill podcast, episode 2. Today we are talking about aging gracefully. Thank you for tuning in to this live broadcast today. During my podcast, I won't interact with the chat as much. Some of my broadcasts will be like this, and then some will be pre recorded, and then I can get a chance to mingle in the chat with you guys. Okay. And my podcast is all for inspirational purposes and, just to talk about some things and, things that need to be talked about. Okay. I may sometimes I may have guests on my show. And if you are interested in being on my show to talk about some things, please email me at jczmerch@yahoo.com. All right, let's get started. All right, aging gracefully. I will be reading today from Job chapter 12, verse 12. Titus chapter 2, verses 3 through 5, and Psalms chapter 92 and 14. So, Job's chapter 12, verse 12 says, "It is not wisdom found among the age, is not wisdom found amongst the age. Does not life bring understanding?" And then we're going to get into the topics after I read them. And the verses is in my description if you are interested in reading on your own or following. Okay. And then we're going to go to Psalms chapter 92, verse 14. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. And then we're going to mosey on over to Titus chapter 2, 3 through 5. Likewise, teach the older woman to be reverent to the way they live, not to the slanderous and addicted to much wine. Not to be slanderous, or addicted to much wine, but to teach what is good. Then they can urge the young women to love their husband and children, to be self controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind, and to be subject to their husbands, so that no one will malign the word of God. Okay. So those are the verses that I have read, and I read out of the NV version of the Bible. Let's get into it. As you can see, I have some things highlighted on my thumbnail, which is family, business, relationships, and age. All right, let's start off with family. Thinking about family, I'm so thankful. I am thankful and I am blessed to have made it to the age of 50, and I have been living my life gracefully. Okay, and looking over the past, and now, I've learned a lot of things. So today, things are a little different, and we should cherish every moment while we can, when it comes to our family. For myself, I am thankful for some of the things that was instilled in me. Some things I took along the way with me, and some things I left behind. Okay. And it's through growth, you know, that we learn things, because everything you learn through your childhood doesn't mean that it is relevant in your life today. And I can't even say that the things that was instilled in me, I didn't lose it along the way. That's like a lot of people. Sometimes you can't judge if a person was raised, because each child is going to go along their merry way. And they're going to behave the way they feel see fit and lose their way sometime, but we find our way back, some of us. And I just discovered, I was in somebody's live and I discovered that D'Angelo, may he rest in peace, prayers to his family, at 51 years old, my God, at 51, and I just turned 50 this year. And I pray that I can live long enough to see some grandchildren from my lovely children. Okay. Now, family can just, for me, family is just like a garden, right? You have the strong roots, you have the weak roots, and the damaged roots, right? We have to weed through them all. You know what I mean? Removing, you know what I'm saying? Taking care of the good, removing the bad roots, strengthening the weak roots, and removing the bad roots, just like the garden, so that you can prosper and have plenty, right? Now, I know, the meaning of family, it means so much, you know what I'm saying? And now looking back, and because I've had children of my own, now I know the meaning of those weary and tired eyes of my parents. You know what I mean? The long sighs after they came home from a long day of work or whatever they were doing. The long sighs and, you know, tired as heck. But me as a child, you know, I didn't understand that then. I still wanted to go play. I still wanted to travel. I still wanted to go on my ventures. But now that I have my own children, which are now grown, I know the meaning and what it feels like to be tired, and I still have to push on though. So the kids don't understand that you are tired. So now that I know what that means, all I knew is that I was just ready to go out and play, go on vacation, or whatever I had planned for my parents to do. That's how my children was looking. And I didn't know how tired they were because they made it happen. I was fed, I had everything I needed and much more. You know, they weren't tired from the things that goes on today. Hey, YouTube campers, thank you for joining me. They weren't tired of the things that goes on today. You know what I mean? They were tired from a hard, honest work. But like I said, I don't remember ever knowing, what exactly. Like if my parents went out and they partied, they did so. I didn't know because you know what? I know we had dinner. We watched a little TV. We said our little prayers and they tucked me in the bed and I was asleep. And when I woke up the next morning, I had food on the table. I was fed and got ready for school, or if it was Sunday church or Saturday, whatever things that was planned. So I didn't know if they were out partying or, they were. Well, I do know they worked, but today, kids is so different. You know what I mean? It's different. These parents are on, and as I see it, on the internet all day and night, and then wake up, you too tired to tend to your business. I wasn't raised like that. I was raised that no matter how much tired, if you choose to go out and party, that's your business. It ain't got nothing to do with taking care of them children. You know what I'm saying? So aging gracefully with the knowledge and things. People talk about how old people are. And baby, you better be hoping that you get the wisdom and the knowledge from those who are old and grayish, okay? Who walk, some don't even look old at all, okay? And some just have the grays, the aches, the pains, right? And I'm thankful for it all, though. I'm thankful for it all. But they weren't tired from being on the internet all night or hanging out in the club all night or none of those things. They didn't miss a beat. I still had food on my table. I still had the remnants of them being at home. I didn't know they were out all night. Okay, because they weren't too tired for me. They still made it happen. And then let's go into business, right? We're going to talk about business, aging gracefully. We make sure that our priorities are together. The best way we know how. You maintain a job, a business, and even a side hustle just to make sure our bills are paid, a roof over our head, food on our table, etc. Not going outside of the home asking for handouts. You don't have to be rich now. You don't have to be rich, but you have a 401k savings or sometimes, some hard funds on the side to make sure you get through. And then if you don't, there's so much more out there. You have programs and things, but who knows if the program's going to be available after this presidency. I don't know. It gets harder and harder. I know I seen hard days, but we make a way out of no way. You remember that? Make a way out of no way. You still have to put food on the table. It doesn't matter. You can't expect for people to hand you something for nothing. Everything is, you have to work hard for it. And if you don't like the position in the job, you didn't just give up. You had to keep working through it because you had to pay those bills and keep a roof over your head and mouths to feed, right? Yeah, that is what it is with business. Goes in hand with job and running your own business. You can't wake up and say, I'm tired and I give up. You had to keep going to that same sorry, stressful job until you found another one. Because if you miss a paycheck, hey, listen, there comes things that fall, and you got to get yourself out of that hole. So why put yourself there? And then let's talk about friendships, right? Friendships was different. I'm aging. I'm still aging gracefully, y'all, because I am thankful for all of these things that I came in store that stumbled across my feet as I'm growing through time. And at 50, I am still learning, right? Age. When I was in my 20s, I was outside having the time of my life. Okay. I didn't want to be in closed doors. I didn't care what was on there. I was living my life in my 20s up until I had my children. I was working, traveling, partying, and doing me, going to school, all of that stuff. I had my own place and living carefree. You hear me? And by the time I hit 30, I had children to raise. I went out there and there, here and there. You go out. You got to enjoy life sometimes. But sometimes you just can't, right? Because you have responsibilities. I went out, like I said, here and there, but most of the time was spent raising my children, working, and going to school. That's all I knew. I wasn't online, okay? I was tied up handling my business. I ain't had time to be playing around because, see, I have responsibilities. I was tied up handling my business. And when I had free time, I was outside cleaning, church, reading, or hanging out with friends and family. I was outside, y'all. You got to get that fresh air and get outside so the brain can breathe and function properly. My complaints and struggles were mostly shared with God and a very few and family and friends. And when I say a very few, I'm talking about 3 people. Okay. That's all that knew in God besides God, because that's everybody can't help you. Everybody want to help you, but there's a reason for their help. So you got to be aware of that, right? Aging gracefully. I prayed about it. I cried about it. I vented about it in the comfort of my own home. Ain't nobody else gonna know my woes and troubles. My pride and upbringing wouldn't allow me to let my neighbor, friends, or family, know the things that I did not have, the struggles I was having. My pride wouldn't let me do so. I just couldn't do it. I don't know how to, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, child. I am thankful for those who has been a blessing in my life, even when I have never asked in the open, but through prayer, I was still blessed, regardless. So that's why it'll come to you. When they say closed mouth, excuse me, y'all. Let me take a sip of water. When they say a closed mouth don't get fed, it's a different thing. What up? You gotta chill. When they say a closed mouth don't get fed, is a difference. Doesn't mean go out asking and and everybody. First of all, have that talk with the Lord. He will work it out. You got different agencies and places that you could go. Salvation Army, YMCA, all types of agencies that can help you out. But one thing about it, I know Jesus is on the main line, and you can just tell him what you want, and he'll work it out for you. But that doesn't mean, a closed mouth. They use that so much in vain. It just get misused when you say a closed mouth, you won't get fed. That's not the meaning of it. But I'm gonna get off of that. Let's go into relationships because I don't want my podcast to be too long. Relationships. I'm still aging gracefully, y'all. The things I've learned. I cherish anyone I call a friend. I even been good to those who didn't deserve it. Okay. I don't have to fight you or tear you down in my departure. I don't have to do that. I cherish the good times we had and heal from the hurt that was inflicted upon me that ended our relationship, right? I have been learning not to let my anger linger along my healing journey so that I may grow and prosper in the remaining of my years of my life. And I'm trying hard, y'all. It's hard. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. And this is friendship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, any ships, that's worth having, that was, you know, time was put into it. I don't want no relationship. Okay. I do. I cherish my relationships. I love my relationships that I am in. But anyway, I have been learning not to let my anger linger along with my healing journey so that I may grow and prosper in the remaining years of my life. And yes, I will never forget. And yes, sometimes I will reminisce about certain things that may leave a sour taste in my mouth. A tear or two may even fall from my eyes. But my main focus is to gather all of that hurt and build something greater than any revenge you can ever dish out. And that's happiness without you. Okay? That is happiness without you. Hello, Lady Whistle. Welcome on in. I love mines too. Yeah, I love my relationships, especially those boyfriend, girlfriend, or wife, husband, children, family, whatever, in friendships is a beautiful thing when you got some true friends. And I am thankful for mines because they keep me grounded. And boy, oh boy, I be needing them in those dark nights, okay? Sometime when you need a friend. But yes, happiness. That's the best revenge that you can ever give somebody. Happiness without you. Rebuild a better me than I was before. Close that chapter and start another one with the lessons I've learned from the previous chapter. I've been learning during my 50 years on this earth that silence is golden. Patience open doors. Letting go increases better opportunities. Not to be disappointed when doors closed, but to take but to take chances elsewhere. Let them doors close. Okay? Let them close, let them go. You don't need it. So, aging gracefully, yes, I am. With the grays that sprinkling, the pain in my knees, the walk, wisdom is so much more. And wisdom doesn't stop at 50. You are still learning each and every day of your life. Each and every day of your life. I don't want a boyfriend. I'm with you there. Well, it start off as friends, then it goes into boyfriend, and then you go into getting married. There's stages to before you just getting married. There are stages. You got the courting, you got the friendship, you got the boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife. That's how the pattern go. You skip one of those and you likely it won't last because you have to cause friendship. That boyfriend is what it should be, a boy, and he's my friend. So, my boyfriend, who is not your typical boyfriend, like, your homie, okay, is not that. But aging gracefully, you better hope you get there with the wear and tear because as I just said, I just turned 50 and I feel better than I've been feeling before in life. But as I just mentioned, D'Angelo and so many more young ones are not even making it to the age of 50. So be thankful and grateful and the wisdom. Sometimes it just takes for you to listen. Nobody trying to make you live your life, but sometimes, you know, it just pays to listen because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So I am thankful and grateful for all things I've brought along with me in my 50 years. I may not be where I've always dreamed to be right now, but I am so 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 gratefully and what's for me. I know that I'm going to get what I deserve. Okay? I am going to gracefully. I'm going to get what I deserve. I'm going to get what's for me, y'all. To my own liking and no one else's. It's for me. So where I'm at shouldn't be concerned by you. This is where I want to be. I may not be rich. I may not own the lavish things in life that others wish for, but it's for me. I am looking forward to all that God has in store for me. See, you can never have too much wisdom. I am learning, growing, and reshaping each and every day that I open up my eyes, y'all. And that's a blessing within anything. A lot of people want what they can't have, and people take life for granted, and they think this internet is the source for everything. Not me. You better sit there in your quiet place and be thankful and grateful and ask God for forgiveness and then move accordingly. Because everything ain't fun and games. But I'm aging gracefully and I'm proud of it. And I wouldn't give a daggone what anybody else got to say about it. So call me old, disabled, or whatever it is your heart content to do so. But I know what's for me, and what's for me is for me and no one else. And I'm happy with it and living peacefully and gratefully. Okay. So I age gracefully in different ways. Everybody got to own their own greatness inside of them and what they looking for. Where everybody don't want the fashion and the finest cars and the big homes and the big mansions. Everybody don't even want to be married. Some people is content with, I'm making fun of you, being boyfriend and girlfriend. People are content with being boyfriend and girlfriend and don't want to get married. You know what I'm saying? But that's for them. What's for them is for them. Just worry about what's on your plate and how you gonna age gracefully if you even age at all. How about that? Because I'm telling you, people ain't even making it to their 50s today. I remember people used to get old to their 90s. It ain't happening. They barely making it to 70. So, baby, before you start looking in somebody else's window and looking at their gray kitchen, when I say kitchen, they gray hair areas and and them whining about they menopausal or their aches in the back, baby, you better hope you get a chance to feel that at an earlier age. I mean, at a later age than at a younger age, because some of y'all youngins are aging. And I ain't gonna say gracefully. I'm gonna keep my that word to myself because I don't want to be pointing no fingers, but baby, y'all be proud about how I'm young. I'm this. You don't look it. And what do you have? I hope you have some savings. What wisdoms had you learned? Do you got you a stash away? Do you got you a savings account, a 401k? Or are you sitting on 20s and you ain't even got a 20 in your pocket? Mm. You better know it. Y'all better hope you grade. You age gracefully with the wisdom and the knowledge that some of us have. Because this life, this life don't owe you nothing but whatever you work for. And even when you worked for it, you still get cut short. Hey, Lori. Hey, Annie. Annie B. Girl, these people just don't know. Foot soldier. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Make sure you are aging gracefully. Because, baby, I'll be looking at some of y'all, baby, at 20, 30, and baby. You look like you got a long vine going on. So just be thankful for the time that you have and respect those. Respect your elders out there. Y'all. We be pushing and coming through. Minding your business. Hey, baby. Yes, the great kitchen, baby. The great kitchen. So, baby, listen. We are like fine wine. Some of us gracefully. Some of us turn into vinegar. Baby, you crazy. But I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for visiting and checking out my podcast. I hope you enjoyed this age and gracefully. You know, we all have different backgrounds, different zones, but some baby, you better pay attention and get some wisdom from some of these. If your mama, I want to thank, shout out to my mother. We may not see eye to eye, but I heard you. I heard you. Shout out to my dad. May he rest in peace. I love y'all to death. Do us part type ish. And I love you. And thank you so much. I know I may have a hard head, but I was strong headed. And I am proud of the woman I became using some of your wisdom to help me continue to age gracefully. All right. So thank y'all so much for stopping in. Catch me on my next podcast. And as I said, if you'd like to join me on a podcast and do a show with me, please email me at jczmerch, merch. That's jczmerch at yahoo.com. And we can talk and set up a show. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful and blessed Tuesday. The scriptures that I read is in the description section under this video, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Later, y'all. Thank you.